fertilization event occurs. All right? And would you find cortical granules in a human secondary oocyte or human egg? Do they have slow block or fast block? Slow block, so you probably would find those. Okay? And this just shows you ovum, egg cell, the blastula, various things like that. And this cell is immediately above that cell in a line. So this illustrates what type of cleavage, spiral or radial? Radial, which is characteristic of deuterostomes. That first opening is the anus, not the mouth. And how's the coelom formed? So outpocketing enterocoelus. Okay? All right? And that was just a review of this, showing as the, I meant to bring balloons. I don't think I brought them, so I apologize. Imagine I had a balloon blown up here, and I took my finger, and I pushed it on the balloon. You'd see the indentation, kind of like your belly button, right? You'd see an indentation there. If you imagine cells on the outside of the balloon migrating in where the finger is, that's the blastopore being formed. You'd see cells moving inward, and as they move in, they form this tube, the primitive gut interferon. So the opening is the blastopore, but as those cells migrate inward, you're moving cells from the outside, inside, completely new environment, new neighbors, new interactions, new signals, and that's why you get the endoderm there. And some of those cells, as they migrate inward, move into the space between the endoderm that's forming and the ectoderm, and they form the mesoderm. Okay? And that's what's illustrated here in red is the mesoderm forming. So there's the interferon, the endoderm lying in this, and eventually this will poke through and form the mouth or anus, the second opening. Mouth, because the first one's the anus. Okay? And remember how the neural plate is formed? You have this invagination. Dr. Firestone has spent a fair amount of time talking about how you have convergent extension and cell wedging and stuff like that to give these morphogenic changes and shapes. In terms of gonads, ovaries and testes are the gonads. They make the gametes. The other organs are accessory sex organs, whether that's the seminal vesicles or the prostate or the Creygon gland. Those are accessory glands. Yes? Yes, they do have radiosymmetry as adults, but they are in the group Bilateria. So what has happened is, if you could look at the ancestral echinoderms, they had most likely bilaterally symmetrical adults, but they've lost that during evolution. They have radiosymmetry, but they're still in the group Bilateria, okay? Even though they have radiosymmetry as adults, okay? That's actually why I asked that question, was to make sure we didn't have that misconception, okay? Any other questions? All right? So let's just look at the things here. I'll focus a bit on theory, but I want to spend some time on actually identification. So I'm going to shine the laser pointer, and you just tell me the structures, and then I'll repeat back your answers. So this is a quick way to do this. It's a fecal pellet within the colon or large intestine. Seminal vesicle. Creygon gland, okay? Fat. 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 Okay, so don't be surprised if you have identified fat. Function would be protection, energy storage. What's this entire structure here? A testy. And this is caudate epididymis, it puts up here. Caudate because it's closest to the vas deferens here. And here's the other vas deferens there. So the sperm are produced within those tubules. And just like if you blew fluid in one end of a tube and kept blowing fluid in that tube, you'd have the fluid come out the other. So what we do in that tubule is we keep dumping fluid into the tubule. So even though the sperm aren't motile yet, they move to the other end of the tube. So the seminal tubules all connect eventually to the epididymis. And they sperm get there not by swimming, but because of bulk fluid movement. Okay? So then they're in the epididymis where they mature, get the acrosomal head, various things like that. And upon ejaculation, the epididymis and the vas deferens contracts, and has smooth muscle, it contracts, creates a force, and they're basically, not necessarily valves in there, but the way the contraction is a wave of contraction. It's like taking your tube of toothpaste, squeeze on the toothpaste at one end, and you shoot the toothpaste out, right? So that's what happens. So the sperm comes out to the vas deferens, and then the ejaculatory duct out the urethra. What's this here? Bladder. Prostate gland that surrounds basically the urethra. There's the penis here. The pituitary glands there help produce some scent. For the female here, remember the vagina, cervix that leads into the uterus, and in the case of a rat, there's a large uterine horn. And the distal ends are sometimes called fallopian tubes or oviducts. We're not going to distinguish between the two. We'll use the terms interchangeably. Oviduct or fallopian tubes. There are slight differences, not important for our use. Okay? So this just illustrates this. Uterine horn here, clearly illustrate the mesentery. So we can see that peritoneum coming around, suspending the uterine tract, and notice the blood vessels here. And that's critical because when we have implantation and the placenta is in that endometrium wall, it would sort of look like this. Here's that endometrium wall. It's rather thick. It was built up. So this is pre-ovulation. It gets thicker and has secretory vesicles in there and various things like that. So it's thick. And when that placenta implants like this, it gets very large. And it needs a rich supply of blood. Well, by having the mesentery that goes like this, we can indeed get the blood flow to that organ. If we didn't have that mesenterial peritoneum around it, we wouldn't have those blood vessels connecting it. So there's the ovary there. And this white small coil is the oviduct, and it leads down to the urinary horn here. So when the rat ovulates, the ova, many, are true, 1N, 1C, and they're actually released directly into the oviduct. In humans, they're released into the abdominal cavity, but there's movement that pulls them into the oviduct. Okay? And then sperm would have to swim up here, and then fertilize, and then as they go through those cleavage reactions, implant down here in the urinary horn. And it's timed so that by the time it gets down here, they can implant. Question? So what is the actual covering over this? Well, it would be peritoneum, but I don't know if they give it a specialized name there, okay? They probably do. I don't know it, nor do you need to know it, okay? Any other questions? All right, so this just shows you the embryos implanted in one uterine horn and one over there. What's this structure? What's this right there? Stomach? Kind of hard to see. What's this? What's this? Xiphoid process. It's your landmark for CPR. Here shows you, what's this membrane here? Amniotic sac. This is the placenta. It has both chorion here. So it's both maternal and fetal tissue. When they talk about chorionic villi sampling, remember the chorion is an extra embryonic membrane produced by the fetus. So early on, you had that chorion implanting as the trophoblast into this endometrium. It implants. And so you have both maternal and fetal tissue there. So if you do chorionic sampling, the yellow represents fetal tissue. You also have maternal tissue from the endometrium, but you can sample this and then do genetics on it. Or you can do amniocentesis, where you go in with a needle and suck some of the fluid out of the amniotic sac, because this embryo is sloughing cells off constantly. Question? It's pretty much just around the fetus here, and then you see the umbilical cord here, okay? All right? And the umbilical cord allows you to get transport of gases and nutrients from the placenta into the embryo and vice versa, okay? So we don't think of the embryo as a parasite, but it really is. On mom, it takes her nutrients, gives her waste, takes her oxygen, but because it's a perpetuating species, it's clearly not a parasite, right? But it kind of acts like one. All right, so anyway, just be familiar with this. I would not typically have a diagram like that. Male here, female there. So remember, it's modified to grab packs of sperm to transfer to the female. And here shows you eggs that hopefully have been fertilized on the swimmerets, and they will eventually develop, go through those cleavage reactions, gastrulation, etc. And then we have miniature crayfish here, and they would attach to the swimmerets, and then eventually release themselves once they're mature enough. Any questions? Again, please holler as I go through here. Accessory structures, know about the stem of vesicles. What are these structures here? Spermatotheca, and what do they do? Store sperm produced by this worm or donated? Donated, excellent. What's this structure here? Septum. Let's see here. What's this? Pseudohyrates, what's these? Calciferous glands or esophageal glands, meaning around the esophagus. Calciferous, regulating calcium. Down here, the crop, it's been punctured. You can barely see the gizzard out of focus, okay? So let's look at the next one. Again, the focus here is an accessory gland, male or female? Female, these are the ovary with ovarioles. What's this? Accessory gland. And in the female, those white stringy structures are not clumped together, but in the male, they definitely are. So there's the male accessory gland. See how all these white tubes are clumped together in this mushroom-shaped gland? It's sometimes called that. What's this gland there? Conglobate. What are these? Are these gonads or accessory? Accessory, okay? Any questions? No? Okay, I see that hand. So a lot of times I just, usually this is what happens. Students, when I turn like this, their hands up. When I turn on, the hand goes down. You've seen this before in lecture. So if you have questions, leave them up or holler if I don't see you. This was just a chicken egg that I cracked the other day. And if you look carefully, there's a small disc of cytoplasm there. That's where all those reactions will be occurring. And you know when you look for the embryo, that it was just a small embryo on top of the egg as we had in the incubator. That's where all the cleavage reactions are occurring. And we're going to eventually deplete the albumin, the protein source, and the yolk for sugars and things like that. Okay? Till the chicken emerge. So do we have any way to get rid of the nitrogenous waste in this case? No. So what form do you think they would store them in? Uric acid. So you don't have to use lots of water to dilute them to avoid toxicity. And this just shows you how the cells migrate inward to form the 3 germ layers. And on the extraembryonic membranes, the 2 that you could easily identify would be the amniotic sac that surrounds the developing embryo and the allantois. The yolk sac's kind of hard to really identify. You can infer it's present because it goes on the yolk, and you see all those blood vessels. Okay? And the chorion is outside that, and that's kind of hard to tell. There was a question here. So the question is, does primitive streak occur with omeoblastic? So it gets a little tricky. It occurs with amniotes, okay? And since chordates are amniotes, and I'd have to look a little bit at the development of urochordates and cephalochordates, so I can't say for sure there how it's occurring. But because of this ancestral history, you typically find the primitive streak in the deuterostome. Oh, sorry, in the amniotes, okay? And then so here's the allantois amniotic sacs right there. And then this just shows you a slide. What's this structure here? Not the pharynx. I heard pharynx. Chick, slide. Dorsal hollow nerve cord. It's hollow. What's that pointer on? Notochord. Okay. Is this right or left? You don't know. Okay. You don't know because you don't know if the tissue was put this way or you just flip it 180 degrees. You do know dorsal. You do know ventral, but you don't know right and left. Unlike the clamshell, where you could definitively say if it's left or right. So I'm going to go over that now. So I want to make sure I get to it because this question comes up a lot. How can you tell if the clamshell is right or left? So I have that diagram on the board somewhere. I'm not a good artist, so I apologize in advance. Here's the clam. We're looking from a side view, okay? And we have me looking at the clam's left shell. Here's the foot. Here's the siphon that sticks out. Since the foot is here, the clam would move like this, moving its foot, make this anterior and this posterior. This is what's in contact with the substrate. That makes this dorsal and ventral. Now we have the umbo here, which is where the shell started growing from. And if you made a line down like this, you'd see that the distance of the anterior shell is less than that of the posterior. So if you have just the shell, look for this umbo. And if you have just the shell itself and you don't have any internal structures or anything, remember there's an elastic hinge up here as well. So you'll see that, and you can say, okay, I know where this umbo is, I know this is short, I know this is anterior, I know this is posterior. And then with that, realize that if the clam is moving like this, your left arm in this case represents the left shell, and your right arm here represents the right shell. So any orientation we take that shell, you should be able to tell right from left. Any questions on that? And remember, what happens is, for this siphon, I'm going to go over this, there's 2 siphons here, although there are 2 tubes that are stuck together. So you basically have, I should have done that in white, but I always lose the chalk. There are 2 tubes here. The one that's ventral is incurrent, and that leads to the mantle cavity, and that gets forced past the tenidia, so those gill-like structures, past the tenidia out into the excurrent siphon. And these 2 are stuck together like this, so when you look at the siphon, you may not see both of those, but if you made a cross-section, you would see this, and then the outside body wall. All right? So the excurrent siphon is dorsal. Questions? Yes? So what's exactly the visceral mass? The visceral mass is a general term from that large body. So when you look, and I'll show you an image shortly, okay? When you look from the ventral aspect, you can identify the foot. You can identify the tenidia, the adductor muscles. But you can see a big body mass there. That's just called visceral mass. It's like saying this is our torso, and then we have appendages, legs, arms, and the head, okay? And I'll show you that on the image, all right? Within that, you'd find the GI tract, the excretory organs, things like that. And make sure you kind of know which germ layers give rise to various things. I would not typically ask you, does the endoderm give rise to the lining of the urethra, or is it the mesoderm? I wouldn't do that. I'd want you to realize that the endoderm gives rise to the GI tract, the mesoderm gives rise to the notochord, skeletal muscular system, and ectoderm, the epidermis, and the nervous system. Okay? But I would never ask you, for the adrenal cortex, does it come from the mesoderm or from the ectoderm? That's just too fine of a detail that's not, personally, I think, important enough in this class. Any questions? No? Okay. That's just showing you the overview. Remember the 3 germ layers? We've gone over coelomates versus this. In terms of GVCs, gastrobacter cavities, what 2 groups of organisms have we looked at that have gastrobacter cavities? Cnidarians and platyhelminthes. Okay. And do platyhelminthes have 3 germ layers? Yes. Okay. Another race groups. These are the charts we have to go through. Know about mesoglea for the skeletal system. Here's just this. Realize in something like this, we see both sexual and asexual reproduction and the GVC. And what's the layer, extracellular matrix, between these 2? Serves as the skeletal? Mesoglea. All right. And this just shows you an image of that. We have 35 minutes. We'll make it. I'm going to try to make sure. For the platyhelminthes, make sure you know the race groups, eye spots. Here's the cross section here. Someone earlier, when we looked at that slide of the chicken embryo, had said that one dorsal hollow nerve structure was the pharynx. So let's look at this more carefully so we can identify this. Also, I'm going to put this on the board. Remember, these are cross sections. So if we're looking from above in that flatworm, it looks something like this, and we have that pharynx there. It has the lumen that leads into the GVC. That's going to go both anterior and posterior. So once things are inside that tube, they can get distributed to the body through these raised cavities, and then the nutrients will diffuse into this solid packing of cells. There's no circulatory system that distributes them. Respiration strictly across the skin, okay? So if we do a cross-section at various places, if I do one here, let's say, I'm going to have the cavity that the pharynx resides in, so there's going to be a space between this pharynx and that body wall, okay? So let's look at the image. What we see is a pharynx here, the lumen that leads posteriorly to these two branches, and anterior, again, I don't know if anterior is in that direction or this direction, because I don't know which way the slide tissue is mounted, but this is the pharyngeal cavity. Does that represent a lumen? Sorry, does it represent a coelom? No, because it's open to the outside. Your oral cavity is not a coelom, it's a cavity that opens to the outside. You don't cross cell membranes, okay? And that's where you can take this pharynx in and out. All right, now that is the lumen of the GBC, so that's why we see some stuff in there that would be food. We have circular muscles and longitudinal, okay? For the annelids, just be familiar with things that with the cut. This idealized section, just want to go over a few things. What's this structure here called? Typhosol. So when you see a cross-section like this, okay, so if you're saying, oh my God, I can't keep track of the various cross-sections. So look for some landmarks that can help you identify or distinguish between, was this a chick embryo, was this the pharynx, is this of the earthworm? So if you look here, you see the typhosol, which is a good reference point. So that quickly tells you what's dorsal and what's ventral, okay? So up here, the cells that line this is peritoneum, but on the dorsal has a specific name called chlorogogen, and that's liver-like. And here's those circular muscles there, longitudinal there, okay? Here's a dissection. I think I asked you a few structures earlier. Let's do a couple here. What's this red structure there? I heard dorsal and I heard ventral, so let's try to keep track of those orientations. So here's dorsal. So here's that dorsal blood vessel going there. So which one is this? Ventral. And what's this white strand there? Ventral nerve cord. And there's the spermatheca, very different color, tend to be round versus the seminal vesicles. Gizzard highly muscularized there. Crop, pharynx, and we can't see it, but the suprapharyngeal ganglia would be there. Okay. Here's a close-up. Crop's been emptied of contents. Here's the gizzard highly muscularized. As it crawls through the soil, it takes in leaf, viral bacteria, whatever happens to be there, grains of sand, and as the gizzard turns back and forth, anything caught between those grains of sand gets fragmented. Then if it's fragmented small enough, then it can be broken down by digestive enzymes and then absorbed to the GI tract and distributed. And these are those yellow chlorogogen cells, and there's that dorsal blood vessel. And this is red hemoglobin. Open and close circulatory system. Closed. What's this here? This here is the pharynx. This is the suprapharyngeal ganglia. Those clumping of neurons there, such with the anterior end cephalization. What's this here? Septum. What's this? Septum. What's this? What's this? There's lots of septi because you have to divide those into somites, right? The segments. And what's all this tissue here doing? These are not meninophrida. Notice what they're doing. They extend from the pharynx into this body wall here. So what might that allow you to do? Anchor it and do what? Generate a force. Because they have to suck fluid in, that pharynx is muscular. So if they don't anchor that tightly to their body walls, they can't generate the force. Okay? That would be a tough conceptual type question. See how you can sort of get that from the general concepts? No? Well, a few students would have gotten it, and those would be the 10 to 50% who get those sorts of questions, okay? And there's always on the exam where we have some questions where we expect 95% of students get them right, and I have some questions where I might expect only 15 to 20%. Kind of get that distinction. Question back there. So you asked if it's connective tissue, is that what you asked? It would be connective tissue, yep. Yeah, because we have nervous, we have muscle, epithelial, and what's the other one? Connective, epithelium, nervous, and muscle. Those are the four. All right, so any other questions on this? Yes? Can I see the meninophrida? Sort of. They're not great in this. They would be the floating structures here, but I can't really see them. So let's see if you can see them in this image. Not real clear. They tend to not be in the anterior segments, but this might be one there, but not very good focus. You would see this white tuft of tissue, and you also see red capillaries within there. Because once you have fluid taken up by those meninophrida, you then have the capillary beds to then take up that fluid and distribute it to the body, okay? But that's not a good illustration of it, unfortunately. What's this? Earthworm? What's this? Typhosol. Is this inside or outside the body, effectively? Outside. What's this space here? Coelom. What's this? Dorsal blood vessel. What's this here? Remember, you have the dorsal blood vessel, then you connect the dorsal blood vessel to the ventral through vessels that go around the circumference. So this would just happen to be a section where you just barely caught that as it went around, okay? So this is the issue when we have three-dimensional structures like this. So if this is, my back represents the dorsal blood vessel. If I have something like this, and it's not perfectly in plane, if you do a cross-section that's thin, you might see part of it here, but not there, right? So that's what that happens to represent. You just barely catch part of it there and there. And then this is the chlorogogen tissue there. What's this right here? Circular muscle and longitudinal there. What's this layer out here? Cuticle. Okay, so here's, I'm just going to ask you to identify, we're going to start alphabetical order. A, lumen of the GI tract. B,